Okay, today we're going to be talking about managing your music library, and this is specifically for Rockbox in your iPod, if you have an iPod with Rockbox installed. Although some of this information will be good if you are also syncing with iTunes. So what you need is Foobar 2000, which you can, if you just search it up, you go to download Foobar. You can download 64-bit if that's what you're doing. That's what mine would be. So that's what I have here. Next you need MP3 tag, so you just want to go to downloads and you can get it here. It's right there, and then your encoder for your audio file format. This is important as well. So what you're going to want to do is, for me, I'm going to use Opus. Now I'll go over audio formats later, but you can get that from just searching Opus encoder. And going to downloads, and right here is what I'm going to need, so I'm going to click this. So here it is, and now I've got it here. I'm just going to extract it, and then now I'm just going to delete the zip. So I have this extracted folder, and this is what I'm going to need. This is the important one, so maybe I'll just put that in our main folder so it's easy to find. I think that should be fine, just like that. All right, so let me go back here. So first you need to get the music, right? Now you can either get it from vinyls or CDs, or have your friends send them to you. Now just a quick note, previously when I recorded I had mentioned that you could use YouTube to MP3 or SoulSeek, but I will say I can't recommend doing those because I don't know if you could get in trouble because you're kind of downloading stuff that you're not owning. But yeah, SoulSeek and YouTube to MP3 I'm not sure on. But one good place you can get music is Bandcamp, so it's really cool, especially in your city. You can look up local artists. So for example, this is one that's a band that I've seen from Canada, and you can go on their page and you can just download a digital album. I own this one, so you can go on and yeah, it'll let you download the FLAC, which is really cool, and you can support them as well. And I think Bandcamp does give a decent amount to the artist, which is good. And usually I find bands put their music at it's quite cheap, but you can choose how much you give them, so you can give them a few extra bucks, and yeah, I think that's a really good way to get your music as well. So you're going to want to get the music. So what I've got here is I've set up downloads, and this is just a very badly formatted library of music. You've got one song here, you've got some, you don't even know what's in here, right? So you're going to want to clean up that file format and make it really nice and clean so you can browse it in Rockbox very easily. And you're going to want to be able to convert that to the correct format. For me, it's going to be Opus. I'll go over formats in a second, and then you're going to want to add the album art as well so that you can see it once you're on your iPod. So looking at these, this is what I would recommend, is to have a FLAC library, which is lossless, which just means that there's other formats that take up less space, but FLAC is always going to be a good one to have. So if you have your entire library in FLAC and you decide, I kind of want to have songs from my iPod that are in Opus, then you can convert from FLAC to Opus. You can save space and you can keep your FLAC library, but you also have these songs in an Opus format on your iPod, which I find is the best way to do it, because if you ever decide, I don't want it in Opus, I want it in AAC so I can sync with iTunes, then you can just convert from FLAC to AAC. You can't convert from Opus to AAC because it's hard to explain, but so this is, FLAC is lossless, but these two are lossy formats, and you shouldn't convert from one lossy format to another. So FLAC is a very good format for that. So let's go back to our steps. So we've got our music library and downloads, right? So what we're going to want to do is clean up the file folder structure. So let's go to MP3 tag. Okay, so what we're going to look at here is you have a song you downloaded from something like YouTube to MP3, and it doesn't have any data on it. So you've got the file name, but you do not have title, artist, album, track, anything. See, there's no data. So what you're going to want to do is come here, right click, and we're going to do tag sources music brains. Now, I do not remember if I had to do setup to make this work, but you might have to. I don't think it's very complicated. So for this, type in the song that the album's on. There we go. And now it'll get you to match it with something. It searches up something and it'll match it. So right here, that looks like the album cover. Yep, that looks good. Let me just find the next. Right here, we need to match this with the right spot. And now we have all the data associated with this song. It all looks good here. We're going to add everything, our whole library. Once we have that, I just wanted to focus on that one, so I just wanted to have that one on there first. But now we have a whole library of music, and it's all in random places here, right? So we're going to take a look, and we're going to check for album artist. Make sure album artist, album, and the track numbers are all looking good. So in some examples, you would have an album artist that shows as a feature like this. You want to take that and make it match the rest of the album. So when you're listening to your song, it's going to show up and show the artist here, but what you want to make sure is that the album artist all matches, right? So you want to fix that for album artist. Okay, album looks good, album artist looks good, all these, they look fine. So what we're going to do is Control A grabs everything. You can also select everything, right click, and you're going to do convert tag to file name. So right here, I'm going to grab my, let's do it in FLAC Library. Now I know I have an MP3, but we're going to put it here. And then you can take this from what I have. This is basically going to format it as grab the album artist. So it's going to be album artist, and then within the artist, there's going to be the album name and then the track with the track number. So let's do that. That shouldn't take long. So now we have our two artists here. Okay. So once you go into the artist, you're going to see the album names. Okay. So there's a few for Lana Del Rey. There's one for Seven Dust. Then once you go into here, there's going to be track name, track number, and track name. Let's go in here and take a look. So yeah. So that looks all good. Okay, so you've cleaned up your library, your FLAC library, right? But now you want to have it in a format that will fit on your iPod, right? Because FLAC is a bit bigger. So what I use is Opus, which is a lot smaller, and it still sounds good. So what we're going to do is go to foobar. Let's start normally. Okay, so we've opened foobar here. It's on the left. And now we're going to just take everything. I mean, I'm going to take out 7 Dust because it's an MP3. But we're going to take all our FLAC files and we're going to copy them into foobar. So you just drag them over. And next you're going to do Control A. You're going to grab them. You're going to do convert. And let's hit the dots. So you can go up here and you can choose your file format. So for MP3, you can choose how many kilobytes per second. I will choose Opus. So if you press edit, you can change stuff. The bitrate, so we want 96. Variable bitrate is okay. So this is all looking good. Press OK. That looks good for me. Now you might want to change that and just do whatever. You can look into it, but I think Opus is good for me, so that's what I'm using. You can do destination, and you can choose, let's switch to here, and we're going to go to iPod Library. This is just a folder I made for the library I'm going to copy to my iPod, so I go to that. And let's go back to foobar, put that here. So it's everything's going to get placed in here. And it's very similar to MP3 tag, where it's going to do album artist, album, track number and title, and this is just a little bit of formatting. So if you scroll through here, you're going to see that it all looks pretty good. So there you go. And now we're going to go back. So that looks good. Okay, so once you're here, you've set this up nicely and you hit convert, it's going to ask you to find Opus encoder. So I'll show you that it's right here. We got it at the start of the video. So it's going to ask us for that, and you're going to want to put that in as well. So here is, so you just click that there, and it might take a few minutes. It depends on the library size. For me, it takes up to 2 hours for like 5,000 songs or something, but here it'll only take a second, so we'll just wait for that. Okay, so the conversion's done, and now we have this folder set up, and it's all cleanly in its own folders, every album, where before maybe we had some messy album names. They're not in their own artist folders. And I didn't show this off well because there's only one artist, but if you have a bunch of artists, it does a folder for each. It makes it all clean. Okay, so now your folders are all set up and you've converted to the correct format that you want, which for me was Opus. You are going to want to grab album art for everyone. Now what I use is cover.jpg, and I'll show you how to do that really quick. Okay, so I've just searched up Honeymoon by Lana Del Rey. Now what I do is you can just grab this and drag it over, right? It's going to be a smaller file, but your iPod doesn't need a huge file now. I think 300 by 300 would be ideal. Now look at that, that's perfect. So usually there is a copy of that that would usually work perfect. So this is a PNG, I don't think that'll work. So this is also 300 by 300. And yeah, it's a JPEG. So it's just a different type of file. So I'm pretty sure that, yeah, PNG doesn't work. You just want either a JPEG or a BMP. So yeah, this should work perfect. And if you name it cover.jpg, that's perfectly fine. So let's go here. And here we are. That's a bit big there, 300 by 300. I think 640 by 640 would work. I don't really know the constraints of the sizes, but cover.jpg. So now this will show up in your iPods. So now everything should be set up right. So let me just okay, so now I'm going to show you what it looks like for me. So when I use Rockbox, I'm going to go to Files. I'm not going to use the database at all because I've set up my file system nicely so that I can use it well. So let me go to Files. I'm going to scroll down to Lana Del Rey so that we can take a look at the example that I used, right? It's right here. So in my opinion, this is the best format because you go into the artist and then you're going to see all your albums, right? We're going to go here and we're going to play this. So there, it shows our album art. It shows all the data on the song, even the track names, or the tracks. They're all in order because we have the track numbers in the files there. So yeah, that's how I use it, and it works really well. And I'm going to quickly show off this iPod because I love it. But now, when I was building it, the border of the screen had like a black frame kind of thing. I took it off because that was a mistake, but I think it helped everything fit in. I can't really. There we go. We got focus. And the back is just. I don't love the back. It's like a matte feeling on it. It's not shiny. And I found the faceplate. I got it from. Yeah, you can see some scratching already now that I've had this for probably a month now. But I was stupid and I put it in my pocket with my keys. I thought it'd be fine because my wallet was separating my iPod and my keys, but I took it out to buy something and it scratched the hell out of it. So It's not that bad. Like, you can't tell unless you're looking at it from a certain angle. Now I just want to show off a program that I did. It grabs album art from Spotify and puts it in the right folders for you. So here, as you can see, there's nothing there, but if we go browse and we select our iPod library here, select folder, it's going to go through and it's going to add the art as it says here. So as you can see, there's a cover art here and it's in the right spot in that it grabbed it from Spotify. So that's kind of an interesting thing you can look into. There's faster ways to do that as well, but it doesn't take too long just to drag and drop the files over. So the reason you'd want to clean up your album artist here is because you want to avoid something like this, right? So you're browsing your iPod and you see you have multiple artists for Lana Del Rey with different features. And so if you want to hear an album with all these songs on it, you can't because the songs are all in different folders. So that's just something you want to avoid. If they're all album artists with all the same name, which you can change this as well. For example, just imagine they all have different features here, right? So all these album artist values will be different. So in that case, you're going to want to go to convert tag to tag, and you can grab this from me as well. This will change the album artist value here, and it'll grab the value from artist. In some cases, this is what you want. It'll take all these values and basically put them from here to here. But in this case, you don't want that because they all have features, right? So you can basically change this like that. You press OK, and it'll set them all to be perfectly like this. But you have to be careful because if you have like 10 different artists' music selected, and you do that, it's going to change all of them. So you have to be a little bit careful, and you can use that tool, but it's going to you got to be careful so you don't have to go back and manually change everything. Also, just one last thing, if anybody has any other ideas or tips of how they manage their library, what they do, if you use database for Rockbox, let me know in the comments what you do or any tips, because I tried to use database before for Rockbox, but I found every time I went to a song, it would go through, it would say like, I forget what the pop-up said, but it would basically make me wait a long time every time I tried to use it for database. So if you use files, I find I never have that pop-up that says basically like initializing. I could have been doing something wrong, but I would like to hear other people's opinions on having an iPod. What you do differently from me. If you have better tricks, I'd like to hear them, and maybe then we can learn from each other. So if you've made it this far in the video, thank you, and yeah, I hope you got something from it.